this is perfect. This is working out better than I was expecting. So this is not the most ideal way to sort of explain how pickpocketing works and apply security. But we'll try and muddle through it. And hopefully I can answer questions that you guys will have. And I want works with everyone. Well, thank you, Adam. It would take a little more planning on my part to get it done right, but I don't think it's impossible. So just so you understand, what I do is very much low jack, okay? To borrow a phrase from you guys. I don't deal with computers. I don't deal with security on the cyber side. I'm dealing with security on the physical side, which is, you know, the one thing that always seems to make your jobs harder is dealing with humans. Afternoon, Clement, how we doing? Oh, we're getting a bunch of people in here now. Well, thank you guys all so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. It's nice to see faces and names popping up. But to go back to what I was talking about, it is the human element that I'm dealing with through. I hesitate to use psychology, but there is psychology involved. Sleight of hand, misdirection, or rather direction of attention, and just understanding human societal norms, if that makes sense. I'm going to try and brighten myself up just a little bit. Hopefully, I don't whitewash myself because I am a pale person, and I want to make sure you guys can see. Okay? Does that look better? I hope it looks better on my end. Now, dealing with pickpocketing, if you want to understand the mechanics of it, it's pretty simple. Phone in a pocket, take two fingers, reach in there, pull it out. The mechanics of it is not difficult. Now, sometimes you have three fingers, sometimes you have to use a finger and thumb, but essentially that is pickpocketing, the mechanics side. What I'm going to try and deal with is why that simple technique allows you to do so many things and also allows you to mess up someone's day when, say, we're doing a pen test. But for now, sort of just get into the nitty gritty. Everyone always talks about how do you steal a wallet? How do you steal a cell phone? And I'll be honest with you, I'm going to stay away from the back pocket only because I'm hoping that the majority of you are savvy enough to know that having a big fat wallet or your cell phone in your back pocket will either one, damage your cell phone, or two, damage your back with the big wallet. And we tend to put the wallet in other pockets. For instance, if you're wearing a blazer like George here is, this is my dummy, by the way. He's made out of PVC pipe and glue. That's it. And I throw some towels on him to give him a butt, and I put clothes on him so I know what I'm working with. Someone said, hi, George. You should stop being rude. Now, what we're going to do is work with the pockets that this has. But a lot of times, you want to work with what you're given, and hoodies are really the way to kind of go because that's what a lot of people wear in let's just say that when I went to DEF CON, a lot of people wore hoodies. But those are the pockets that people put their phones and their wallets in. A lot of people don't put them in their back pocket, mainly out of convenience. We are creatures of habit, and we are lazy creatures. So if we can do something easier and more efficient, we'll do it, because that means we're not wasting energy and we're not wasting time. But there comes a sacrifice to that. And if we put something in a side pocket because that's convenient and quick, that makes my job easier because it's easier to pick the pocket. Now I'm going to drop the camera down here just so you can kind of get an idea of what's going. And I'm hoping that I can sort of brighten this up for you guys. So it's no longer on my face, so hopefully, there we go. Now everyone can see George. I'm bring George over just a little bit. Now this pocket here is what we're dealing with. It's just right here. Bring this down just a little bit more. Okay, now what's going to happen is that this pocket is very, very simple to reach in and take things. The only thing that makes it difficult would be where their arm is going to go and how much girth does this target have. I want to be polite about that because it's not necessarily always someone whose belly gets in the way, but muscles can be an obstacle as well. But essentially, all I'm doing is when this arm is raised, I'm reaching in here. I'll push this so you can see. These fingers would go in, get a grip, and pull it out. It's not a terribly difficult technique, but we'll go into the mechanics of why it's work. And all it is the mechanics of a jacket and a hoodie are as follows. When this arm raises, this moves away from the body. I hope that makes sense. When that raises, the jacket moves away from the body and I'm able to reach in. I can almost put my whole hand in without you feeling it. It's just how it's the way the clothes hang on a person. So unless you're wearing like a rash guard from jiu-jitsu or like cross trainer kind of garb, it's going to fall away from you because, you know, layers. And reaching in and reaching out of this pocket isn't really that difficult once this arm is raised. So again, that's the mechanics. How do we get that to apply to what we're trying to do? And this is where the psychology of it comes in. Let's see how we're doing here. Now, the psychology of it is that I want this arm raised out of the way. Now, as a pickpocket entertainer, that's easily done. All I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to help me with instruction. There has to be a reason for you to raise your arm, and then I give it to you, and that's when I have you focus on what we're doing, and I reach into the pocket. In the real world, it's way easier to just wait. This is an opportunistic skill. When you have people doing their day-to-day, there's always going to be an opportunity where they have to lift their arm up and reach, and when they do that, that pocket will move away from the body, and you can reach in. So these are the things worry about. Now, inside pockets are different, but that's a more advanced technique of understanding where their brain is going. So we'll just stick with this one for now, okay? Just so you can kind of understand what's going on. The arm lifts, this gets pulled out of the pocket, and vice versa. Now, the reason why that stuff works is because it's all body mechanics. It's really just how the clothes has been draped on us, and when we move and just studying body mechanics and understanding where things go on the body. Now, that being said, this being an opportunistic skill, you want to be able to grab whatever you can get a hold of. Now, to get something, that means I have to create the opportunity. And being mean about it, I can easily just sort of really thud into this person, like in the movies, like really hard if I want to. And all I do is that if I'm behind the person walking along, my hand would go into the pocket, ready to go. And as soon as I feel that arm come back to hit, I push in like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I did not know that I was going to run into you. I was too busy looking at my phone. I'm so sorry. There are a lot of different techniques. That one I'm not a fan of. Can't do that on stage. And clients don't tend to like it when I do that to their customers. But I will say this, when you don't have to entertain people, I've found that a cell phone is the best distraction. Person asking questions always works because that gets you off guard. I'm in a position where I'm asking you for help. If I ask you for help, you feel like you're the superior in that moment. Your guard sort of goes down. Not a lot, but it does. So I ask for help. Can be something simple like directions. I'm not understanding my phone. I need your help. I give the phone to you. What is more disarming than that? I've given you something that is very important to my life. Has all my information on there, supposedly. And you could, if you run away with it, I'm in trouble. So there's a lot of giving of power in this situation that allows me to take advantage of this, if that makes sense. And please, if I'm not making sense, do ask to me to clarify. I go on tangents, so I apologize if I go a different route than you're expecting. Once this is in your way, the arms, of course, come up to look at the phone and make sure we're going in the right direction. And again, we're making the situation happen where the arm is being lifted so I can reach in and grab said item. Now, one of the things I've found is that I can get into people's personal space. I'm going to lift this up so I can sort of see my pretty face and turn this down so I'm not a white ghost screen, and then we'll just go back and forth playing with that. Okay, now, so here's one of the things. I am over 6 feet tall and I am over 200 pounds. I'm a large gentleman, and that tends to intimidate some people. I have to eliminate that intimidation because I need to get close to you. And and that requires charisma, understanding social situations, and humor. Those three things can get someone off guard so I can do my job. Now, but the one thing that I do have to do, because I'm so big and so tall and I want him on my side, I have to become, quote unquote, the damsel in distress. If I need his help with the phone, I don't walk right up to this person, staring them in the face. This is a sign of aggression. People are on guard. It's not good. And to really understand that, the next time you run into a friend, walk up to them with your eyes locked with theirs and see what happens. I guarantee you they'll think that they're in trouble or you're angry with them. We don't want that when we want to steal stuff. We want you to be in a position where you feel safe, because that's the best way for it to happen. If I offer this person my phone, I don't want to look in the eye. I always attribute it to sort of like when your dog thinks it's done something wrong. You've seen that, right? Where someone will do this and they kind of like, they shrink a little bit. They're like, oh, I'm sorry, all this kind of stuff. So what I do is when I come in is I'll break eye contact, turn and come in sideways. Like I'm trying to make myself as small as possible, mainly because that's when you're going to feel safer. Because if I am big and tall and aggressive and boisterous and all the rest of it, that's better for you to be distracted by than to have close to you. So when I'm doing this, I have to make eye contact, break eye contact, come in sideways, not this way, but sideways, and offer the said item. Once I've offered said item, your hands will go up to grab it and make sure that everything's going right. That's when I can put my hand into the pocket to take the item. Okay? So these are just distraction keys. It's the same sort of technique that allows you to bring it in and bring it out. I also go over in person how when you're sitting at a restaurant, the table becomes your pocket. How many of you guys and girls and everybody in between that's in the chat, how many of you have just taken over a table when you're at a restaurant? You pull out all your stuff, you lay it out on a table, all that kind of stuff. I'm sure a lot of you do. That's an opportunity for people like me. Makes my job better and easier because it's all on display. So I go over something like that in a different lecture, but it is something that I want to bring up just to bring to your attention, because if I can make my life easier to take something, I will. So lunchtime is always a good time to try and take things. So back to this, I want to explain George for those that want to practice, and hopefully for next year I'll be able to come visit and we can do this in person. But George is just PVC pipe. You can go to Home Depot, buy a bunch of lengths, get some elbows and some T's, and put it all together. There is a T-junction here with a little pipe here for his head. I don't bother with the head. It's not a big deal. Unless I want to be cheeky, I'll put a stuffed animal there so you can have a head on him. But all this is that it's just glue on certain spots, and other spots I don't put glue, like the two shoulders and the waist, because I want to be able to move him around, and folding him up makes life simpler. Also, I make a square of the feet. It's all connected, and it's the base, and they have two legs that shoot up at the bottom. And I wrap the legs in towels, put the clothes on, put layers. So again, he has layers, and that's how I would practice. Now, if you want to get started in your room right now, or at your house, or wherever you're at right now, two very simple ways of doing this. One, get a hanger, empty out a closet, and let that coat hanger hang, put a jacket or a hoodie on it, and you have a makeshift practice dummy. It's easy to reach in and out of pockets off that hanger. And it's a great way to at least start practicing and understanding where your body needs to go. Now, you don't have arms inside the dummy, quote unquote, but you can still move the arm out of the way. And when you lift the sleeve up, you'll notice that everything moves, and it gives you a nice simulation of how clothes hang on a person. And the last one, and if you don't have a coat hanger, I don't know how you wouldn't, but sometimes there's just spots where you can practice. Hang a jacket off a chair and put that chair on an elevated surface, like a coffee table or a table. It'll sort of give you the shoulders of a coat hanger as well, but it sort of opens everything around more like a human body and makes it easier to practice. And the reason why I say practice is because if you have an interest in this, I treat pickpocketing like martial arts. You can know about martial arts. You can be a fan of martial arts. But if you ever get into a real fight, unless you've practiced, all the theory goes out the window. So it's the same with pickpocketing. If you've never understood how to pick someone's pocket, you cannot fully understand how to stop it from happening to you. And that's how I look at it. So if I'm going to help you understand how to protect yourself from it, I feel like you have to know how it sort of works and actually do it on people to make it work. Okay? Now, one of the things that I will say is that cell phones are super easy to practice with. I got me a dummy phone, kind that you at phone places so they can know what kind of phone you're going to get and how it feels and all the rest of it. They cost like dollars. It's not hard. Unless you work at a phone store, you can get one for free. But I'll let you decide how your morals go on that. But get yourself a dummy phone. You don't want to do it with your real phone. These will break. If you have an extra phone case, perfect. Put that in the pocket so you can practice, okay? It's what you want to work with. Know what it's like to feel with it. And I prefer not hearing about, oh, I practiced this weekend in my hotel room and I dropped my phone and the screen cracked. I'm not responsible. And it's going to make me feel bad if I ever hear about that. So do practice with a fake phone, a dummy phone, whatever you can use, a piece of wood shaped the way a phone is, so you can get practice of taking it in and out. Now, there are ways to protect yourself with these items. One, I always recommend with a phone, protector on it, because when there's no protector on it, oh my God, these things fall out of your pocket almost. Like I just have to walk behind someone and it'll fall in my hand. It's kind of disturbing sometimes. But if there's a case on it, like a OtterBox or one of these like super crazy ones, those are a good deterrent as well because they're bulky, and if it's in any kind of pocket, it's going to catch and snag. Keep in mind, this is a opportunistic skill, so I'm looking for easier ways to get in. So if something looks hard, I'm going to look for something easier first. So definitely have something on your phone. OtterBox, one of the crazy super heavy duty cases, they all tend to make these difficult. And they have rubber on them, so rubber tends to catch on fabric. So definitely do that with those. Now with wallets, I myself have two wallets. I have the wallet that has the important stuff, and I have the wallet that I use when I leave the house. Like a driver's license, a debit card, and an ID card. Makes it super thin, small, and I can keep it in any pocket and it doesn't feel uncomfortable. If you're not going to do that and you feel okay having it chock full and everything like that, that works too, but it doesn't always feel comfortable to have a fat wallet in your front pocket. So and a lot of us will tend to put those ones in the back pocket as well. Now, if I'm going to be mean, I'm not going to waste time trying to pull it out of your back pocket. I'm going to take a knife or a razor blade and just slice the back of your pocket and let it fall out. Why do I want to try and get it out when I can just do that? But when you are dealing with wallets, I always recommend that, you know those broccoli bands? You've seen them, the blue ones that go around broccoli. If you put that around the wallet that you don't want to have come out of your pocket, that is very much a very DIY way of making sure that these don't fall out of your pocket or get pulled out without you noticing. Silly have just something like that costs you a bit of broccoli. Hell, go to a grocery store, take one off a broccoli band off the broccoli, don't even buy it and walk out. I don't think anyone's going to stop you. That is the quickest LoJack way of making sure that a wallet doesn't come out of your pocket. Me personally, I try to separate into two wallets, the important stuff and the stuff that I need to walk around in the day. That being said, when it's a nice thin wallet like that, I have no problem with that going in my front pocket. Good. I tend to turn it sideways, so it's harder to come out of the pocket, if that makes sense. You don't want it going vertical, because if it's vertical, again, it makes it easier to come out of the pocket. I don't recommend that you ever put them in your side pockets of your jacket or your hoodie. They're just so easy to pull out. They really are. And when you start practicing, you'll notice. It's just a frustrating thing that we have to accept because, like I said, we're creatures of habit and convenience. We'll throw our keys in that pocket. We'll throw our ID card in that pocket. Wallets, cell phones, everything of importance tends to go in the pocket when we're in a rush. I'm just saying that if that's the case, and I would recommend not putting it in that pocket. Those pockets are usually for hands. Keep it as such. But if you can't, whatever you can do to make it more obstructed and in the way, the better. That's the best deterrent that I can give you without practicing and understanding your surroundings. Now, I'm going to open it up to questions because I know you have them. We're in a great opportunity here where we get to ask questions and no one's staring at us like we would if we were at an actual lecture. So if you guys and girls and everybody in between don't mind, I would appreciate some questions or some concerns or any obstacles that you think might be or anything like that, if you don't mind, start popping them into the chat. I would appreciate it. Now, one of the things that I will say is that the wallets are not impossible, but again, deterrence. Phones are always a frustrating thing because no one ever puts those. Some people just walk with those cases not on there. And me and Ian Meyer from B-Sides Orlando, we also talked about smartwatches. It's fun how those ones are doing those things. So let's see what we got here. Brandon is worried about making sure that we're not asking about how to pick pockets better. Well, again, it's you're asking questions to make sure that you understand how it works, and I'm fine with answering those questions because that's how you prepare yourself. You got to learn how to use a gun to protect yourself with a gun. If you don't know how to pick pockets, you're not going to protect yourself from picking pockets. Please elaborate about the smartwatches. Well, Ian and I had talked about this. Well, at least for the iPhone and the iWatch and the MacBook, he has his Apple Watch set up so when it's in the vicinity of his laptop, it will open up his laptop. So even if the laptop is left on a table, there's no way of being able to open it up unless you have that smartwatch. If I get the smartwatch off, which is not a big deal, honestly, those rubber band watch straps are very easy to take off. If I get that off and we can pop the code on one of those Apple Watches, it opens up your MacBook and we get to have some fun. So it's not impossible to do. So there's a lot of information that goes into a smartwatch that can be exploited if I can get that off your person. Best pickpocket attempt I experienced was in use a syringe with. Yeah, that is honestly a valid technique. It works exceedingly well, mainly because the jacket no longer stays on the person. There's two reasons. There's one, if you fake that there's something on someone, they'll look for it, and while they're looking for it, that's when you're reaching in pockets and stuff. The other is you say that there's something on them. Let me grab that hoodie I have here and say, take it off. I know exactly how to clean it off. And then they open the jacket like so, and they'll hold it so you can see the mess, the pigeon poo that was suggested. And while they're holding that up, you're reaching in pockets. So that one's actually a really honest to God valid technique, and you don't have to be that good at stealing things. So, but thank you for bringing that up. Let's see. How often do you have multiple victims to choose from? Is generally one victim? What happens when there are more difficult than the average? Okay, that's a really good question, Alex. So when there are multiple targets, sky's the limit. You're just doing things to do things. Now, let me make sure I understand the question. It is now. Keep in mind, I am a pickpocket entertainer. I usually go to events, and I will entertain people, and then I'll pick one person and then take things from them and give it back. That being said, if it's just one victim, quote unquote, I need to have a distraction that is not open area around them. That's why subways work. That's why crowded malls work. That's why crowded bars and restaurants work. Other people are sort of doing work for me to make sure that they're in the vicinity of the person, the mark is what they're called. And it allows me to do my job because that person is distracting them for me. I hope that makes sense, Alex. And if I happen to have when they are more difficult than the average, well, again, it's It is an opportunistic skill. I am looking for opportunities to borrow things. So when I do take something, I want it to be easy because that makes my job easy. I don't have to worry about George taking a swing at me. So if there is more than one target or mark that I want to choose from, I'm going to go after the easier one because we don't get noticed, we don't get caught. Security doesn't go up. But again, if it is the one person and it's extremely hard, then we have to change it to make an opportunity happen. And that's a little bit like improv. You have it's like a fight scene with Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan is using all the different things that are in a particular area to fight with. It's the same thing with pickpocketing. I'm looking at what opportunities I have to take advantage to try and distract this person so I can get the item that I want. There's a lot of improv with pickpocketing. Let's see what we got here. Mike, got Mike's question there. Front pocket overseas. Rubber band that sucker like nobody's business. There are techniques, and I have, there's a technique that happens in Italy. The only way I can show you is if I bring this down, turn the light up, and show it in my pocket. And it does work on jean pockets, is that you would stick your fingers in here like this, and you would work the fabric up like this with your fingers on the outside of the pocket, like the inside but the outside of the pocket, like where my thumb is touching through the material there. Fingers are doing this to pull whatever's in the pocket up like so. You can try it on yourself. It's actually quite funny how weirdly little you feel. You'll feel it on your fingers, but you won't really feel it on the side of your pants. It works exceedingly well on pockets like this. It's usually used for like loose in a pocket, but that would work exceedingly well on an ID card. Turn that down so I don't just blow up the wash here. Let's see what Brandon said. If you had to approach someone who is not very friendly or doesn't like people approaching them, how would you close the gap? Okay. As an entertainer, I have a different approach than what I would do if I had to get something from that person. If that person does not want me in their facility, then I have to change it. But let's say for argument's sake, I need to get to this person and I'm doing what's me, which is being friendly, being charismatic, and all the rest of it. I tend to find that people that are angry or grumpy dwarf, we'll call them, making them feel superior tends to bring their guard down. If I ask them a question that they know the answer to and can elaborate on it, their guard goes down because they feel like they're important. If they feel they're important, their ego goes up, their guard comes down, and I can take advantage of opportunities. So just because they're grumpy and they're off-putting and they don't want people in their vicinity, you have to find an opportunity to make them feel bigger and more important. And that surprisingly brings the guard down because they feel bigger than you. I hate using that word. It's a little like it's thing. It's more of like a morality thing. And I'm trying to find better words to fit this. But for the time being, I've found that grumpier people tend to want to be the center of attention and show off their knowledge. If you can do that with the grumpier person, that makes your job a lot easier. I hope that sort of helps. How do you handle anxiety prior to the act? Okay. One of the things with performing, it's a little different because I can get away with failing. I'm a pickpocket entertainer, so if I fail, it's part of the act. So I gain my confidence from understanding that it doesn't matter if I get caught. But in situations for pen testing, clearly the anxiety goes up more. It's the same thing with going out on stage, with competing in a competition, all the rest of it. Your best bet is to distract yourself until the moment you have to do the thing. If you sit and think about it for too long, you're going to talk yourself out of it, and you're going to second guess yourself, just like with everything else in life. So it's usually the best thing for myself when I want to make sure that I'm not having a panic attack when I'm going to go do this, is I try to make sure that I distract myself until I have to do it. And really distract yourself, not just play on my phone. I find that exercise, talking with friends, all that kind of stuff, that helped me. And then, oh shoot, I gotta go do the thing. And there's no panic involved because now my job is to go do the thing. And that's usually what I find helps with that situation. Let's see here. Social distancing is a pickpocket's worst nightmare. Alex, you're not wrong, but at the same time, you'd be surprised how often I can get away with, how do I put this delicately? I can get away with getting into people's bubble just because I'm social. But the other thing too is that we have lacked human contact for a good almost a year. If I get someone who says that, oh, you know what? Do me a favor. We both have masks on. I got a bottle of Purell. Help me out with this thing. You'd be surprised how often people are more than happy to, just to get the human contact. So yes, it does suck. I don't want to give COVID to anybody, but if I was had no morals and very scrupulous, you could really take advantage of the situation. You really could. Brennan, I think you were saying makes sense. Thanks for the thorough answer. What about keys? Techniques for keeping them safe. One thing is, there was a gentleman out in Sweden. When I did their talk, we talked about his carabiners. Carabiners are really good when they're not the simple dollar store kind. You know, the ones that just have the hinge and they open and close like that. If you can get a more elaborate one, I find those tend to be a good deterrent. And again, you don't want the janitor pile of keys. You want essentials. If you need 50 different keys, then there's nothing I can say but aside from have that hang around your neck like Flavor Flav with a clock. Okay? But if you're worried about just regular keys, like just car keys, house keys, that front pockets tend to be the best place to put them. Or I would honestly recommend one of those safety backpacks, the ones where all the pockets are on the back of the backpack. That would be touching only this part, and the only way you could get into it is if you took it off your back. I've found that those tend to be very challenging to try and open, not worth my time. I'd rather wait for you to take it off and distract you when you've taken it off. And if I have to do that, that means I have to put more time and effort into watching you, knowing when you're going to drop all the kind of stuff. But if you don't want to shell out $300 to buy one of those backpacks, I would recommend either the really complicated carabiners, the kind that twist, pull down, and then spring open. They're a pain in the ass. Keep them where they dangle. You can feel them on your hands, on your jeans. If you don't want to buy one of those, boil it down to your bare essentials and always keep them in your front pants pockets. Don't put anything in your cargo pants pockets. I love getting challenged to take things out of those pockets because they're so easy to take things out of. They really are. I know they're convenient to just drop stuff in because they're big and open and wide and everything. but it's so easy to take things out of those side pockets. They really are, especially like the shorts with the pocket on the thigh. When you start putting stuff in that pocket, the pocket expands and it'll open up, and that pocket spot where you kind of lift up to shove stuff in, that stays open. In there, take things out. I got big, long fingers and long arms. I have no problem reaching for your thigh area on those pockets without looking like I'm doing this. I can usually get it right about there. So don't use those side pockets. I know they're convenient, and I know that they button up and they got Velcro and everything like that. But when those suckers are, when they're packed, they just start opening and make my job so much easier. So front pockets are where I definitely recommend. Let's see what Alex said there. Sorry, someone entered the session. I'm just waiting for it there. We seem to have an answer for everything. Well, it's due to experience, Alex. I have one skill. I have one skill. And that's why I know about this stuff. Okay, let's deal with zippers. Now, zippers are interesting. I don't have too much in front of me for zippers other than my hoodie, but I'll kind of explain how that kind of works. It is a good deterrent, especially when the pocket is chock full of stuff, but not impossible. So the way a zipper works is interesting for me. It may not be interesting for you. But when I pull on a zipper, you have to have pressure in front of the zipper for it to want to open. Okay? Same thing goes when you want to pull it. Otherwise, you'll just pull the material. The fun thing, though, is that if you just pinch where the zipper is, none of this gets tugged down here. All the pressure is where I've pinched the zipper. So it no longer becomes impossible to do it if I pinch right where the zipper is and slowly open it. It's extra steps, but this is an extra step I'm not worried about. I've dealt with those before. It's not the end of the world. Buttons, because I'm an entertainer, I find frustrating. They're not impossible, and it's kind of fun to get caught when you're popping a button on the back. That being said, if I didn't worry about your clothing, a razor blade to that button, and that button's gone. The thread behind it is very thin. So those zippers and buttons I don't find to be too taxing. Just extra steps. Let's see here. For keys and carabiner, would you clip to belt or jean loop? Personally, if you want to go super safe, I would go with belt. Same goes for your phone holder. And get the kind, and I would definitely recommend the kind that goes onto the belt that you have to feed the belt through. Because if things just clip on, like honey clip, where it just has the piece of metal that's sort of springy kind of thing, those slip off all the time. So it's not hard to slip that off. So if you can get something that would clip the whole belt, I highly recommend that more than the belt loop. Because with a carabiner and a belt loop, all I got to do is just squeeze it and tilt it, and it comes out. Let's see what we got here. How difficult is to reintroduce the stolen item back to where it was originally? That's a good question. Thank you for that one. Depends on the location. So let's say somehow we got the phone out of a jacket pocket, the inside one. We're going to feel elated. We're going to feel like $10 million because it's a hard pocket to get. I'm not going to bother trying to put it back in that pocket. And my reasoning is this. How many times have you reached into a pocket where you knew that you put the pocket, and then later you check the other pockets and that's where it was? Same thing. If I got this out of the jacket pocket, if I can put it back on the person in a different pocket, I succeeded because you're not really going to think, how did it get there? You're just going to think, oh man, I don't remember putting it there. Human psychology is a lot of fun with that kind of stuff. We tend to forget small details because we don't want to waste space with mundane things. We drive ourselves insane with that. So we take advantage of that. If you get something out of a pocket, you find the easiest pocket to put it back in. Because how many times have you looked for your keys, your phone, your wallet, and it wasn't in the normal pocket? Did you think someone put it in a different pocket? Or did you think that you can't remember why you put it in that pocket? But hey, at least I have it. So putting it back into the original pocket isn't as difficult as just finding a pocket to put it in. I hope that makes sense. Ways to look like a hard mark. Good one, Adam. First off, being intimidating is a very good deterrent. And I don't mean just looking like an angry biker. I mean the way you walk, the way you hold yourself, there's a confidence in your walk that can and will deter people because they don't want to deal with someone who looks like they have their life together. Now, that being said, ways to make yourself a hard mark, let's see, we can boil it down to like when you go on vacation in a country that is known for pickpockets, i.e. Italy, believe it or not, England, and lately Chicago. Chicago's been having a run of pickpockets lately, and I'm really looking forward to reading more about it. But to make yourself a hard mark, essentials is what you got to boil it down to. What do you absolutely need to have on you? You don't need to have everything. You really don't. I know we put it in there for convenience, but you don't need a purse with your little pocket tissues, your Purell, all that kind of different stuff. You want to have your essentials and boil it down as thin and small as possible. Because if your clothes are baggy, it's easier to reach in those pockets. So you want those items to be on your person that makes it closer and touching you. And if it's a big bulky item, there are ways around getting it out of a pocket, plus it's inconvenient for you. Also, I definitely recommend utility belts or fanny packs or messenger bags. I have a messenger bag and I wear it underneath my jacket over my shirt. I can slide it over, get all the stuff I need, and then slide it back. It usually sits right about here on me. My arm is always on it and my jacket is on top of that. To get into that pocket is difficult because it has zippers that all point inside to my jacket, the way it's set up. So you can't just reach in and pull it open and all that kind of stuff. It's a pain in the butt for anyone but me. So I definitely recommend a messenger bag. I also recommend fanny packs, but don't wear it over top of stuff. Fanny packs are not to be on display. They're supposed to be hidden. So if you have a long shirt, you would wear the fanny pack and then put the shirt over top of that. It's supposed to hide your stuff, not make it visible. They also have belts that you can hide stuff in. I don't recommend those because they're a pain in the butt to pull stuff out of, unless it's something that is direly important that you have on your person, but needs to be safe and can fit in a small belt. So possibly like SD cards or something like that, or flash drives. But aside from that, I don't really recommend the zip belts that they have, only because there's not really a lot of stuff that you're going to fit in that. Now, the one thing that I will say is that if we want to go for a more casual look, again, essentials that are in one wallet and the stuff that you need to have go in the other wallet, and that's your travel wallet, and the other one stays at home. I know it's like an extra step, but we're worried about security, and steps are what we use. Now, let's see here. Did we get anything else? Oh, we did. Spain is big also. Absolutely, Pete. I hope that sort of your question, Adam. It's really just trying to make it less opportunistic, or at the very least, more steps. If I have to go through 5 different steps to get to something, I'm not going to do it. I want 3 at the most. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Or 1, 2, or even 1. Anything more than that, then I know I'm going to cut. It's just the way it goes. Let's see. Seeing some people wear backpacks at the front. Yes and no. It's not impossible to get stuff out of the front backpack, but that's a better deterrent than on your back because I have to deal with your eyes. So if I'm working by myself, a backpack on the front, I don't want to deal with. But if I have a partner, I can happily get stuff out of a front backpack. But again, it's only if I have a partner. I can distract you here while you're standing there and my friend is on the other side. Now, again, doesn't have to be zippers. We can just take a razor blade and slice it to open it up. But if I can get you to lose your sense of vision here, I can do whatever I want here because you're not going to see it, right? And I don't have to go with the normal stuff. I can say a lot of different things to just be annoying and frustrating and all the rest of it. So let's see here. Sorry. There we go. That was frustrating me for a second. So I hope that kind of makes sense. A backpack in the front is better than a backpack on the back. I will say that. Fanny pack, spandex. I've got this. Good job, Adam. Thinking about how fun it'll be to have 5 decoy wallet chains bring on 90s back. Exactly. It's funny. I actually made a comment about wallet chains on TikTok. And all the people with wallet chains came out of the woodwork to tell me that I was not only wrong, but I'm also horrible names for saying it. But I will say this. I've never run into someone who had a chain wallet that was worth stealing. And I'll tell you why I say that. The majority of people that have the wallet chains either don't have a lot of stuff in there that is worth taking, or 2, I don't want the consequences of being caught taking it. So those are the 2 deterrents on a wallet chain. That being said, a wallet on a chain is not impossible. It's just an extra step. So if I can still take a wallet out of your back pocket, I just need the extra step to snip the wallet because the wallet's just leather. I don't care about that. I have contents inside. If I snip the wallet, you can keep your chain. I just wanted the wallet. So if I can snip that little end off that was holding on, get some tin snips or something equivalent, it can be done. It's just extra steps. It just depends on who really my mark is and whether or not do I have to get it or am I getting it because it's an opportunity. I think that's my time. If I want to get, don't mention fanny packs in the UK. Pete, if you don't mind sending me a direct message telling me why, I'd love to hear why. Folks, I think I'm winding down my time. I've got probably time to answer one last question. If anyone has one, you want to throw it at me? Let me see what we got here. Rob Zabrowski entered the session. Well, coming at the end here, Rob, I apologize. Adam, thank you. I hope that my information has been useful. I love talking about it. I love the whole world of pickpocket artist. I mean, like I have my own T-shirt saying that I am one. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I can be reached at pickpocketmagic@gmail.com. If you have questions, if you want to learn more about it, by all means, you're more than welcome to contact me. So please have a good time with the rest of the conference, and I hope I get to meet you all in person. Not just so I can pick your pockets, but to share this thing that clearly we all have an interest in. So thank you very, very much.